Hi, my name is Salma, and for my Scholars Practicum, I worked at the FDA over the summer, and I'm continuing to work there right now part-time. I worked at the Center for Orthopedic Devices under the Division of Spinal Devices, specifically because I wanted to learn about orthopedics as I would like to enter into physical therapy after I graduate college. I chose this site because my mother works at the FDA. I've already been there. I know the ins and outs, even though she's in a completely different department. I can connect this to public health because the project that I chose was to look at demographics, identify minority groups that didn't have as much representation in determining effective medical care because they were not presented in as many clinical studies when determining what devices were effective and what weren't. My internship included many devices such as surgical meshes, total hip replacements, and 3D cages, where I went through and I determined their product material, indications for use, animal testing, bench testing, the target population, and more specifically, I personally went through the demographics of interest such as sex, ethnicity, race, smoking status, age, height, weight, BMI, etc., in the clinical studies to determine if these devices were effective and safe for general public. The data that I collected was from 133 different treatment groups at 81 investigational study groups for the different devices, and the results were percentages for each race subgroup plotted and compared to the general U.S. population recorded by the Census Bureau. What I ended up finding was that the white and Caucasian race was overrepresented in devices and clinical studies, while other groups like Native American, Asian, African American were underrepresented, and more specifically, this was a very big find that the median number of white study subjects were 104, but the median number of black study subjects was 9. Studies claimed that Pacific Islander participated had a maximum of 3 subjects, and American Indian participation had a maximum of 5 subjects, if that. The sex data may not be as meaningful because many different procedures are specifically for one sex over the other. My future research and the takeaways that I had was that additional efforts need to be made to enroll minority groups in clinical studies. I believe that there needs to be a greater public outreach and advertisement because I don't believe that many people have access to even know that clinical studies are occurring, that they could be part of a bigger thing that could potentially save their life or at least create more of a healthy environment for them. There are a lot of instances when looking at the demographic options where people would pick other as an ethnicity option, and that becomes an issue because we are not defining what racial groups are supposed to be when we are creating these studies, and we need to be able to look at what other people are able to accomplish or have access to so that we can adjust the cervical cages and hip replacement technology to fit all people appropriately instead of for a predominantly white group. We also need to find time and resources to grant approval for more devices because there are certain devices that may not work for women or immunocompromised individuals in orthopedic surgery. The reason that this practicum was so important to me is because when I was first going in, I was supposed to be doing data entry for the dimensions and the technical aspects of certain devices, but I pushed for my involvement to be more based towards public health and identifying what life-saving devices could enter the market and how it could affect a large array of people. The photo that I have presented is the spinal cage that was most used in these studies to treat lower back pain. And I learned a lot from my supervisors, Jonathan Peck and Catherine Kavlock, and I was very lucky to have this experience.